Tom, can I ask you a little question?
No.
So mean. Tom, have you seen Avengers Endgame?
Yes. Have you?
Yes. Have
We saw it in the cinema together.
Welcome to Having Words.
Welcome.
It's just me and Tom. This is the first two-person episode.
There's no one else, Josh.
What? Is anyone...
Why are we alone?
Because, Thomas, Aiden isn't here.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. But we were thinking to take advantage of this opportunity, Tom. And what is the difference between Aiden and us right now in this current timeline?
Right now, in this timeline.
Yes.
In this 1 out of 14 million?
Was it 14 million?
14 million? I like how we're on the same wavelength.
It's a big number.
Big number. We are the only two in the world in this room to have seen Avengers Endgame.
Infinity War.
Well, hold on. Yeah, no. Endgame.
Yeah, so Tom, we've seen Endgame.
And where did we see it?
We saw it at the IMAX, the closest one to us.
IMAX.
Which is in Crawley.
Good cinema.
Great cinema. It's great. Shout out Crawley.
Yeah. Took a long time to get there, though.
The only issue... Yeah, oh my God, yeah. It took like, what, an hour?
Yeah, I'm not going to shout out Crawley's infrastructure.
Their car park was so messed.
Yes.
Didn't make any sense at all.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, we watched it in IMAX, which I've only watched one other film in IMAX before, which was Infinity War. So that was
really?
like...
I didn't know you saw Infinity War.
Yeah, that was like mind-blowing.
I saw 2 films.
You saw Interstellar, didn't you?
Interstellar, fantastic.
Of course.
Shout out to that moment where Matt Damon tries to dock the spaceship with the docking station and then it's silent before it explodes. And also, kind of a film you wouldn't really expect to see in IMAX, but it was The Dark Knight Rises.
Still must be incredible in IMAX.
Such a beautiful voice.
I mean, any film in IMAX is amazing, but The Dark Knight Rises must be really cool.
Pretty epic.
Especially the music in it's pretty good.
The music is like really bassy.
Whoa.
But we saw it in 3D, didn't we? Endgame.
We saw it in 4D.
Was that 4D?
Was it not 4D IMAX?
It said 3D.
Oh, well, we got ripped off. It was £60 a ticket each.
No, but it was... incredible, because before when you mentioned the 3D or when I saw that it was 3D or 4D or whatever it was,
yeah,
I was a little bit put off because that fad had died a long time ago for a good reason, and I was still a little bit skeptical, but when I sat in there, put the glasses on and saw that masterpiece of cinema, some of the scenes and the shots and just from characters talking to each other or from big space shots, it was truly like beautiful to witness in 3D.
It's unlike anything else. I remember with Infinity War, it was like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And with the music and the chairs are so nice.
Yeah, they are really nice.
I must say the one thing when we went to Endgame in comparison to Infinity War was that our placement of seating. Now in Infinity War, it was great because I could look forward and see the screen, the massive, ridiculously big screen.
Yeah.
But obviously with Endgame, we were like row D?
Quite near the front.
So our necks by the end of it were broken.
I felt like a little kid just looking up and just watching like my favourite superheroes.
It was great, flying around.
It was fantastic.
Now, we need to say that there's going to be spoilers in this episode of the podcast because Tom and I, we really want to talk about it. And like we said, we're taking advantage of Aiden not being here because he hasn't seen it. Actually, Tom, the other day when I called him, the first thing he said, I was like, hey, Aiden. I was like, hey, happy birthday, because it was Aiden's birthday the other day. And he was like, you've seen Endgame, haven't you? And I was like, yeah, I've seen Endgame. He was like, don't spoil it for me. I've heard something that's made me really unhappy. And I was like, what did you hear? And he was like, I've heard Iron Man dies. And I was like,
oh no.
So I didn't react to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a spoiler cast.
Spoiler filled.
Oh my God, we're filled to the brim with spoilers right now.
It's drenched.
I'm about to explode with spoilers.
Let's not do that.
All over
I'm
Tom.
Directly opposite.
Oh, that was.
Oh no! It's been a while.
Firstly, Tom.
Yes.
Let's talk about the film in general.
Yeah.
Let's say our reactions by the end of it in 3 seconds, okay? 3,
Wait,
2...
hold on. Say whoa, what?
Let's say one word to sum up our reactions.
Just go. Give me your reactions. 3, 2, 1. What?
Let's just say a one-word reaction by the end of it. Okay, ready? We said at the same time. 3, 2, 1. Breathtaking.
close enough.
I think mine was better, actually.
Yeah, yours was more intense.
And yours was epic. Top 4 letters.
Mine was...
I don't think you could have tried any worse.
Yeah, to be fair, that's pretty crap.
Actually, there's a book on the shelf that says epic that you obviously just looked
directly
at.
where I got it from.
But it said Eric Woodward.
Endgame was Eric.
Eric Woodward.
Truly Eric.
Really enjoyed the film. Great film.
So did I. We've established that. But
we've established that. I had no idea what to expect. I think after Infinity War, it obviously left everyone like, what the hell are they... Did they realise what they just did?
Yeah.
That they killed off every single character?
And the trailers did it very well, Endgame, because obviously not revealing Thanos, not revealing much of the story.
Exactly. And I honestly thought from the first few trailers, actually, that Tony Stark was going to be in the space shuttle for like most of the film.
That's what I thought. But then you do see him in that sneaky little shot of them walking.
He's like, Tony, what are you
doing? You got out of there, didn't you? Big Tony boy.
What would you say? Because there's a lot of things in that film, like we just said, that were quite we weren't expecting at all. So what would you say is the main thing that you were just not expecting at all?
I did not expect to see, and I'm sure this is the moment that most people probably lost it at, was Cap picking up Mjolnir, Thor's hammer.
Oh my god!
And using and wielding it and actually like pretty much destroying Thanos to a point. With that and his vibranium shield.
Yeah.
Like...
That was amazing. I think obviously they teased it in Tommy O'Connor.
I've just genuinely been waiting for that moment since Iron Man.
That was amazing.
Because I'm a huge fan of Captain America.
Yeah.
And he's always my number one.
Yeah.
And to see him finally do that and Thor go, I knew it.
I knew it. Oh, that was amazing.
Just epic, man.
I think because ever since they teased it in Age of Ultron, I didn't think they would actually reintroduce go into it again and re-find it.
But they probably didn't even know.
They were like, hey, wait a minute, we just teased it. Let's just fucking use it.
But he actually just straight up picks it up.
He does.
No, because what do you see first? You see the hammer moving.
Yeah.
And then you're like, everyone's kind of like, it's not Thor.
What's going on? And then
Captain America was nearby.
I'm gonna say he looks sexy as hell.
I'm sorry, but I'm a huge fan of bearded Captain America.
Wait, but he wasn't bearded in there, was he?
No.
Sorry, Tom.
It was a shame.
So you said is that the one bad thing about the film? Would you say?
Yeah, and also, I don't know, my other drawback, which I know is probably up for discussion and debate, is also homeless Thor.
Homeless.
Hobo Thor.
Hobo Thor, yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. Fingerless gloves.
I enjoyed Fat Thor.
Did you?
Fat Thor. That sounds like the fourth Thor film.
Yeah, it just sounds like the cheap knockoff.
What's this hard to say? Fat Thor. Thor is fat. Fat
Thor. Rounded
Thor. The only thing is, he still had a six-pack when he was fat.
He did. It's because he's a god, ripped. Isn't he? Yeah.
I really wanted there to be like a little gym workout scene where he did like 3 press-ups, and because he's a demigod, he got like the six-pack.
Well, yeah, I was thinking they might do a little time travel bit where they're like, they look at Thor and they're like, dude, are you gonna sort yourself out?
Yeah.
And Thor's like, well, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
So they go, right, jump in the machine, send you back to, I don't know, just 5 years ago, according to the timeline.
Yeah.
And you're all good. But they
See,
didn't.
I would have said that's a waste of 3 hours, but I feel like there were things in there which shouldn't have been in the 3 hours that they cut down.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I did really struggle, going back to Thor again, when there was the fight scene between Cap, Thanos, Iron Man, and whoever else it was, against...
Hulk at the beginning.
No, against Thanos.
Oh, okay.
When Cap picked up the hammer, and you see him in his suit and everything, lightning, blue eyes.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a tub.
It's like...
It's a bit like...
It's really weird comedic value, because it's like, it's supposed to be obviously humorous and funny, but it's just not.
Yeah, that's the only really sort of drawback I had.
See, now what I read about this, one of my friends told me, was that Thor likes his image is his symbol. His symbol, the symbol of Thor is his image. He's supposed to be ripped, this kind of demigod look. So him being fat and a hermit, such as not wanting to be outside and everything, is him showing failure. Like all of the superheroes show failure in different ways. Tony Stark was like moving away, having a family and all that, and like kind of adapting with it, and obviously losing a lot of weight and being crazy through space and everything.
Yeah, it's brilliant. That's brilliant. It's a good point, because each and every one of them had an impact caused by Thanos and his power. Like you said, I mean, apart from Cap, obviously suffered. Cap decided to deal with the loss by helping other people, like the therapy sessions we saw, and also getting the team back together. And that's so Captain America.
Classic.
And then, like you said, Thor felt like he failed, and so put on all the weight. Did that?
He went from being a leader to being a hermit and not looking after himself.
Iron Man literally did the opposite of what I ever thought he would do, which is create a family and settle down.
Yeah.
And who else have we got? We got Black Widow, who was like emotionally broken.
Yeah, you could tell.
Yeah. You've got Hulk, who Bruce Banner,
Can't believe that
Thanos beat them so bad that he made them live
friends
together and work together. Although the entire time they had never been able to do that, and he managed to achieve that.
Yeah.
That's pretty mad.
Thanos achieved the impossible.
He did by beating them so badly.
Hulk in Endgame, we expect him to come out. Like, obviously, I wasn't expecting what happened about them to be so fine with each other that they become one.
Yeah, I liked it. Mm-hmm. I like that one because it's, at the end of the day, it's a completely different take on a superhero film and the Avengers.
Yeah,
that's what I took away from Infinity War and Endgame. It was superheroes losing, and them dealing with that. And so, of course, each and every one of them had to have a consequence.
Yeah.
And so I'm perfectly fine with, to be honest, I am fine with Thor and Hulk being the way that they were. But yeah, I again, like, yeah, you didn't see Hulk really, did you? It was Bruce Banner, green.
It was so weird.
Yeah.
It was so weird. I don't know if I liked it or not.
Really?
And I feel like the only reason they did that was so when Thor clicks. Why did I keep saying Thor? I think the only reason they did that, though, was because when Hulk does the click, his hand had to be big enough to go in, and his hand was the same size as Thanos' hand, which means Thanos could use the glove later.
Yeah, but the glove adapted to the size, though, so I feel like it could have adapted again.
See, that's what I thought, but if you look at the glove after the Hulk uses it, it's destroyed. And it seems like it's still a glove, but it doesn't look like it can function. But you're right, maybe it was just
I don't know.
Favourite scene, Tom? Favourite scene from the entire film? Big question, first of all, because it felt like 3 or 4 films in one.
I've got quite a few, it's difficult to pick, but one of them has definitely got to be Cap walking into the elevator.
Oh my god, that was incredible.
With that fantastic callback to one of my favourite
Winter Soldier was
scenes.
Amazing.
Is that elevator showdown.
Oh, so
and then he walks in and he goes, "Hail Hydra."
That was
spot on.
Literally using, it just felt so cool, him going back and like manipulating the past, such as when he says to Steve Rogers, Bucky is alive, just to make him shocked enough.
Yeah, to get him.
Exactly,
because he knows what he would want to. Well, he knows what would surprise him.
Yeah,
because obviously that's his past self.
Yeah.
It's mad.
That was such a good scene when they were all looking at him like, what does he know? And then
they hand over the brief.
Hail Hydra.
Yeah.
Oh man,
quality. Your favourite scene?
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think there's so many scenes which I love. But I think the scene that I literally just thought of was when Iron Man at the end, when he tries putting the glove off Thanos, and Thanos is like, "Oh, you lose," and then he puts his hand up, and you see all the gems go into his knuckles and everything.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "I am Iron Man," and clicks. Like, that was.
What did you think of? Yeah, I am Iron Man. That was great. What did you think of Doctor Strange looking at him
and with
putting the one finger up?
That was just.
What did that mean? Is that you've one reality? What did he say? One time. Fuck, what did he say?
Well, in Infinity War, he said he scanned like how many? It's 14 billion or 14 million endings, and only one of them they win.
Yeah.
And I think before he looks at Iron Man and does the number 1, he says how if I told you this is the reality that we win, we'll lose.
Yes,
and I think him saying that was basically saying, if I tell you, it means you're gonna lose, you're gonna die. So when he turns around and does that to Tony, he's telling Tony, and Tony realizes we're gonna either it gave him the motivation to kill himself to win, or it made him realize it's me losing.
I think Doctor Strange knew what was going through Tony Stark's head.
Yeah.
Tony was probably thinking, I've got a shot here.
Yeah.
To take the stones and do this. He looks at Doctor Strange probably in that moment thinking this might be it.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange gives him that confirmation.
Like, this is it.
This is the timeline. This is the only outcome that you can win. And he does it.
That was crazy.
I am Iron Man.
You are Iron Man.
I've also got another, in terms of cinematography, my favourite scene, my favourite shot, maybe because it was even better being in 3D IMAX, but when Captain America has been pretty much beaten by Thanos after using the hammer and the shield.
Yeah.
And he's holding the hammer, shield in the other hand, and he's standing in the foreground, looking out onto Thanos and his army in the background when it's all dark, smoky, burning.
Yeah.
Such a brilliant shot of the Cap pretty much all alone, and it really hammers that home and makes the arrival of Wakanda and everyone even more.
Also, I think, like you said, the importance of that shot as well was that throughout all of the Marvel series, Cap being in the year 2000s and everything, he is alone. He feels so out of place, and like even though he tries adapting, such as when his mate Falcon or whatever gave him the list of all the movies to watch and everything.
Yeah.
Like it was him trying to adapt to the time and everything. But you could tell through every film, even in like Infinity War, that he was still held up over Peggy, which is why I think the ending works so well. But we can talk about the ending later.
Yeah.
So I think the shot of him by himself kind of reinforced the fact that he's by himself in this new timeline, this new era that he was never meant to be in.
And it was also him being Iron Man, being Captain America again, because obviously in Infinity War he's not Captain America, he's Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
And then in Endgame he has the suit on, he has the shield, he has everything.
Back to the good old days.
He is Captain America, and he's standing alone against the enemy of the world, literally. And he is making his stand, and then he's joined by
his mates,
his buddies.
Oh, that scene is. But I think I was discussing this with my friend Penny. We were saying how if it was kind of 2-hour films, I'd watch both of them. Of course, I would. But what would be the point where it would end? And I think the point that it would end is at that moment, right before people come through the portal, you hear Falcon or whatever his name is. You say on your left, and then you see everyone come through the portal. I think that'd be a great ending if you hear on your left and then it ended, because you're like, who said that? Where is he? What do you mean on his left?
I agree, but coming into the third film and then seeing them turn up, kind of knowing that this, that's the climax really, and then to start the film
with such
the climax, and you sort of know that they're probably going to win.
Yeah.
Because that's what you've been conditioned to believe and see from superhero films in the past.
Yeah.
Where the climax happens, the cavalry arrives, and then they go on to win.
Yeah.
So I don't know about... It's a good question, though. It's a really good question.
If it had to be made into 2 films, what point would you cut it up?
Oh, man. You could even say Cap picking up the hammer.
You could say that. That would make it a very much Cap film, which I think obviously Endgame felt like an Iron Man and Cap film. But that would make it a very Cap film if it was like, him ending it was that.
Yeah, you know where you should end it is where fucking Thor beheads Thanos. End it there.
What? Like a 15-minute film.
Credits roll.
What did you think of that? How literally in the first 15 minutes, I was not expecting them to go to his planet and actually behead him, because it just seemed like the easy way out, and they did it.
I liked it. I really liked it because it does throw you off.
It does.
The whole film throws you off.
It does.
I at no point could I predict what was going to happen. Maybe it's because I'm not like a massive Marvel super fan, or I'm not very good at predicting storylines in general.
You're not.
But I'm just not good at all. But I didn't really know what was going on. And then from every moment where Karen Gillan's character, Nebula. Gets her memory file gets accessed, and it shows Thanos looking at his future self being killed and saying destiny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even with that, I had no idea what he was going to do with that. I didn't realise that it was a possibility of him to go into the future and that. And that was just like, I get he knows, but now I'm really concerned because what's he going to do with that information?
I just thought it was mad, just the fact that he can literally stop.
Yeah.
The future, but he also wouldn't want to. He'd want to continue. He knows that he's won, though.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, he knew that he had defeated the Avengers.
Yeah.
Wiped out half of Earth's population. So he knows that he wins.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that information?
Exactly, because literally, like that moment when we see 2014 Thor or whatever, that's the moment when he finally gets the first gem, or like he's about to get the first gem, and for him to
the first gem,
woo,
they're minerals,
the first stone, and for him to be so close to the one and then realise he wins it all in the end. No wonder he goes back. He's making that jump to go back in time, because he's filled with all this I fucking did it.
Yeah,
he's filled with all this great energy.
And shout out to Josh Brolin because he's listening. what a perfect character to play, a perfect actor to play Thanos.
Yeah.
In terms of gravitas and voice.
Oh my god.
Like just the
performance wasn't too expression filled, which was good.
No, it was perfect for Thanos.
It was exactly.
His voice just delivered those lines with such meaning, and every single one you believed, and you were genuinely just threatened whenever Thanos was on screen because you know what he could do to the Avengers.
You heard me crying in the cinema.
I did, yeah, I screamed.
You screamed because I was crying?
Yeah.
Ah!
Oh my god! Yeah.
Scary.
Scary.
I liked Thanos's. I like how they fought young Thanos when young Thanos didn't really know half of the heroes. Because I think he always knew Stark. He'd always like heard of Stark, and I read somewhere that he always saw Stark as a threat anyway. Such as in Infinity War, he doesn't call anyone else by name, but he calls him Stark.
He does.
Like almost like he respects him because he understands that Stark can defeat him.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be something similar with Captain America.
Yeah.
Especially when they were fighting, and they got to the point where Thanos had just managed to overcome Cap. And he was, taking his helmet off or something, I can't remember, picking up his weapon. Yeah. And I thought, what did he say? He said, like, I didn't quite pick it up, but it said something, I thought he said he respected humanity or something, but then he said something completely different. So I'll when I rewatch it, I will hear what he actually meant. Yeah. But I thought he was going to say something to the Cap, like, I will always respect you, or like he said to Stark. What did he say? I hope they remember you.
Yeah, and there was kind of that moment when you saw Thanos' face when Captain America got back up. Yeah. He was not expecting him to get up. No. So yeah, I think it was around there when he said the line, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the more silly stuff of the film. Now, I understand Fortnite are doing some Avengers and some Endgame exclusives in their game, but do you really think it was relevant to mention Fortnite in Endgame, especially when it was supposed to be 5 years in the future?
Oh yeah. Well,
what did you think of that?
I think it was fine. Again, I'm not overly critical for things like that because it's not something to say too seriously. It just happened.
Yeah.
Fortnite's very relevant at the moment.
You're right. Yeah.
5 years in a time, don't know. Probably not because things die off quite quickly. But Fortnite's still around, so I don't really mind that at all. I
just think for Fortnite, it's such a big move and it's such a big motion for them to be in the most popular film of like the decade.
It's huge.
That's crazy. And obviously now they have all this endgame content in their game as well. Like
they do, yeah.
They're rolling the games out there.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I thought, that scene when obviously they were playing the Australian director, sorry dude, whatever his name. Sorry dude. Yeah. That was an interesting scene. I'm glad they brought back those characters.
Yeah.
It was just a weird way they did it. It was just them chilling out, all being hermits and stuff. But like we discussed, it's because Thor's showing failure is him being
if you look at it through that light, it does make it better.
Yeah,
I think.
You're right.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, I've heard of a loophole that my housemate Joe, which has been on the podcast, he's been on the
shout out to Joe.
Shout out to Joe Jones. He said to me a Captain America loophole. Now, do you reckon you can guess what that is?
Is it something to do with him going back in time?
It is.
Yeah. Is it the fact that he goes back? How does he stay? Because I assumed that when he went back, he didn't do the whole superhero project thing.
Yeah.
And so he didn't become jacked and beefy.
See, that's what everyone thought.
Is that the loophole?
That is the loophole that Joe found. And so I found a theory online, which I said to Joe, and he was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. And I'll read it out right now, if I can find it.
Is it explained in that Cap doesn't end up in the ice?
Well, Captain America goes back to a point after he's already in the ice. He's already crashed, he's already in the ice. And so that means, let me read this out. A lot of people are not understanding that Cap was always Peggy's husband. We never see him because all along Cap is her husband in the original timeline. He's not changing anything. He's closing his own time loop. He will still be found on ice in 2012, still go through everything he goes through, and then go back in time and be with Peggy. They leave the door open for him to time travel to the future if he's needed after the events of Endgame 2. Which meant he was always supposed to go back in time and he was always supposed to be with Peggy. because we never see Peggy. It's her that Peggy got married, but we never see who she got married to.
Yeah.
So it turns out that he's closing his own loophole by going back. So he goes back, marries Peggy, and then the Captain America of that time is in the ice, and then he wakes up and finds out she got married with someone, which turns out to be him.
It's him anyway.
It's him anyway.
It's just, time is a circle.
Literally, yeah.
It's just going back. Yeah.
Which was like crazy, but because he closed his own timeline, but then Joe was saying he argued against that because Joe's very good at arguing against valid points. He said that would still be a different timeline to the one that old Captain America is currently in, which is the normal timeline. So does that mean Captain America, when he turned old, went back to use the time machine thing or whatever to jump to this timeline?
Or was he just waiting?
Just
at that moment, sitting on that log or bench.
I think the only issue with that is that it throws the timelines off a little bit.
To be honest, it's completely beyond me.
Yeah.
At that point, I started getting lost.
Yeah.
Because I'm very
stuff, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy time travel. I mean, Lost did time travel. I think
Lost, the TV series did time travel.
Yeah,
right?
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That was quite interesting. And now we're doing the whole time travel thing again.
I wasn't expecting it. I think a lot of basic bitch boys theories was
sorry?
Was that Doctor Strange is going to use the time stone and go back in time and defeat Thanos. I'm like, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't make it that simple.
Too basic.
But the idea that they used Ant-Man's quantum realm time thing was crazy. Yeah. Especially as soon as he came out the portal and addressed the fact that I was only in the 5 hours and you guys were out here for 5 years. As soon as he addressed it, it was like they're going to try and manipulate that somehow.
Definitely. And I like the fact that they didn't immediately jump on board with it either. It took some convincing for Stark.
Yeah.
Especially that bit where he's at home and he does he puts it in the computer and realises it's possible.
He literally freaks out.
I thought that was great.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Especially Stark's the one who needs to make it work, because obviously the Hulk does it, but then he messes it up a little bit because he becomes baby Ant-Man, old Ant-Man, wets his
Stark
pants.
is the scientist. Stark
exactly.
is the creator.
So he was the one who kind of had to make it doable.
Yeah.
And the fact that if it wasn't for the kid, his child, he'd be like, yeah, of course he'd do it without a heartbeat. But they added in a feature into the film which meant he'd have to reevaluate what he was doing.
He had a responsibility other than Pepper. Potts.
Literally, Pepper Potts. Which was like...
PP.
That was crazy, how they added in that extra level of like, hey, do we really want to go back and defeat Thanos and do all of that?
And they still did it because that still outweighed his own daughter.
Yeah. But he said, didn't he? He was like, to bring people back as if they never left, but not to go back to that point. Because obviously his daughter wouldn't be there if they went back, but his daughter would be there if he brought back everyone.
Isn't it? It makes it, honestly, getting a little bit of goosebumps now, thinking about the fact that he still sacrificed himself.
He literally did.
For everyone, even though he had someone back at home to look after.
Well, not only that, but think about Tony Stark's character from the first ever film. He's always been a selfish character, only cared about himself.
I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
There we go. Like, that's a callback because it showed how much he changed.
Yeah.
When he first said that, he said it for the props.
I am. Yeah, exactly.
Because journalists, they go mad, don't they? Yeah. And he says it again here.
For what's the opposite of selfishness? Selflessness.
Yeah.
Selflessness. He literally says it for selflessness.
Literally, that's what he's doing it for. We've just realised that.
We've just realised that. It's
incredible.
It's the full turnaround.
Incredible.
The one guy which was probably the most selfish guy in selfish superhero turns out to be the most selfless superhero.
Yeah, he does.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, we're obviously watching it after the podcast. We're watching it for the second time.
Are we? Yeah.
How do you think second viewing is going to change?
It's going to be even more monumental, I think, because even now, talking about it now, we're realising things, figuring things out, and so when he says that I am Iron Man thing, I'm probably going to tear up.
Yeah, well, you're tearing up right now, Tom.
But yeah, I am great. I just can't wait. I can't wait to do it again.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. I thought Hawkeye was good as well.
I liked how the first scene was showing the impact on Hawkeye's life. I think that suited really well with the storyline and of his character throughout Endgame.
Yes.
That he was going around killing people. He was like, I'm doing my job. It's like, and Nat was like, what job are you doing? You're just killing people.
They didn't overblow it either.
They didn't.
He lost his family. He went on a killing spree, which you see one bit of.
Yeah.
Nat turns up.
Yeah.
Convinces him what he's doing is wrong. Well, it's right, but it's wrong for him.
Yeah, and there might be a way to bring his family back.
And gives him a purpose.
Yeah.
and he does contribute to that purpose. I like the fact they give him the gauntlet with the stones, and he's protecting them, and he does that.
Yeah.
And then the bit with Nebula. I think that was all good for Hawkeye. And we haven't talked about it, have we? As in Hawkeye and Nat fighting over who sacrifices themselves.
That was... See, now this was the other plot hole. The red guy from the first Captain America, what's his name?
Red Skull,
there we go. He says you need to sacrifice the thing which you care about the most. Obviously, now I can be on board with them caring about each other so much because they're besties. They literally probably love each other so much. But they didn't sacrifice each other. They willingly jumped in there. So does that ruin it? Because they willingly went in. It wasn't a sacrifice.
What did he say? What did Red Skull say?
He said something like, you need to sacrifice the thing that means the most to you, or something along those lines. He definitely used the word like sacrifice or like give up or something.
Is it not just a case of a soul for a soul?
See, it might just be that, and that might just be a fancy way of putting it.
I feel like it might be.
Yeah.
I feel like it. I'm going to believe that anyway.
Yeah.
Because the Soul Stone requires a soul.
Yeah, that it makes sense.
And there was still a huge connection between them. And the thing is, the Soul Stone still drove them both to compete to kill themselves.
Exactly.
Which, in my mind, is what it would want.
It would, yeah. It would want them to, yeah.
You know?
Because I feel like with Thanos sacrificing Gamora, that very much was a sacrifice. Whereas this is they're sacrificing themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not saying they love themselves, but they love the situation that they're in, and like they respect the relationship they have with each other.
On the other hand, was it Nebula that said that they went to Vormir, Thanos and Gamora? So Nebula knew that Gamora was sacrificed.
Yeah, this was the other thing. It's like, surely they would have discussed about it.
Surely they would have planned.
So maybe I don't think she had much planning in who goes where, but she kind of knew that they'd end up going there, and that's why it would work out.
It seems like a strange duo to send. To be honest with you, they send the least superheroes to go get probably one of the most important stones.
You're right, but then again, they're the two people which relationship. They all talk about, hey, do you remember Budapest and stuff. That is never really talked about too much.
No, isn't Black Widow getting a film?
Is she actually?
Yeah, it must be set in the past, but yeah, I think she is.
If it was set like before she joined the Avengers, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
that'd be
because she hasn't got one, has she?
No,
I think she is.
She needs a film.
She does. She deserves one. Even though her coolest part in the trailer, which I found funny, was her shooting a pistol and reloading it.
Yeah.
Like, what's she gonna do?
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, Black Widow.
But I think she was definitely seen as kind of a leader. So, like when she was talking 5 years later with Captain Marvel and everyone.
Yes.
It was very much she was a leader, and like you said, she was in pain. She was searching for.
She was, yeah.
Now going back to Hawkeye, actually, and like we discussed each of the Avengers failures and Thor and everything, and Tony Stark. We're going back to his family now. Hawkeye, he didn't really turn up in Infinity War or the other Avengers because he wanted to be with his family. He wanted to kind of give up that life.
Yeah.
So his way of failing was going on a killing spree, the complete opposite.
Yes.
Which is interesting to think that.
Yes, it is.
His way of showing failure was to just go back to the one thing he promised himself that he wouldn't do.
Yes.
Which is going around and killing people.
Yeah.
People that he considered bad, which would seem like bad people. Those people in Japan seemed sketchy.
They did. It seemed a bit rough. But yeah, no, that was great as well. It was really cool to see how each and every one had been affected.
Yeah.
And then in their path to setting everything right, they meet every key plot part of their story. Do you know what I mean? Like Iron Man, his father.
Yeah. They tied up so many loose ends.
Yeah, Hawkeye with the fact that he's killing people.
Yeah.
Captain with Peggy and Bucky and all of that. Thor and his mother. Yeah. Asgard.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah,
actually, speaking about Thor and his mum, I love the fact that I didn't know that his mum was like a witch or grew up around witches, which is why she said, "I understand. Like this, you're not the Thor from my timeline."
That was cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because it meant that he didn't need to explain anything to her. She kind of got it.
Yes, that was great.
And so especially because that made Thor realize, that was him realizing that the importance of everything is speaking to his mum.
Yeah.
And that must be so good for him to speak to his mum, because obviously he never got to speak to her properly until she died.
Yeah, that must have been nice for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
Also, going back to the Captain America scene, going back in time, I loved the idea of him closing his time loop. You'd think, yeah, but Captain America saw himself during the fight scene. No, because he honestly thought that was Loki. And after that fight scene, obviously, 2012 Captain America or whatever is going to wake up and be like, that was still Loki. Little did he realise that was actually Captain. So that might have actually happened in the first Avengers film.
Yeah, we just didn't see it.
We just didn't see that.
Which is going to make rewatching the first Avengers film
incredible. That's one of the things I loved the most, actually, was we saw aspects of the first Avengers film after the film ended, such as them going down the stairs, the Hulk having to take the stairs and everything. Was like, that was crazy.
And quite a few callbacks to the other films as well.
Yeah,
little moments.
That Hail Hydra, and
the
the other guy that they met downstairs in the lobby that wanted to take the briefcase off them and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, that was just.
It adds so much more to the Marvel universe, despite it just not also just the fact that it's another Marvel film. It also contributes like little sprinklings to the other ones.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Which is great.
God.
Amazing.
I'm so glad, like you said, like a film like that had to they had to be worth it for like 12 years, whatever, in the making. And I definitely felt like they did that. They literally tied off so many loose ends.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to be happy with the ending, but at least they addressed as many things as they could without it seeming too like stuffed in there.
Like, no part of me is disappointed at what I saw or what I have seen over the whole universe. Like, it all just has contributed to this final film, and the payoff is brilliant.
Exactly.
I think Infinity War and Endgame are probably the finest two examples of how to make a superhero film or superhero franchise. Yeah. And Marvel has done it.
Yep, a superhero journey, man. Like,
yeah, here's looking at you, DC.
We didn't realise we were part of this experience.
No.
Until we realised that wait, hang on a minute, there has to be an end to this.
Yeah.
Like, hey, superhero movies, woo, oh look, like they're collabing with each other and everything. But yeah, at some point there had to be an end, and obviously Infinity War was kind of that end as well.
It was.
What did you think of the Captain America arse bit?
That is America's.
I liked when Tony Stark was in his like office space. He was like, "Yeah, that suit did not do justice. Like, that is not America's ass." And then afterwards the fight, he was like, "Yeah, that's America's ass."
That's America's ass. Yeah, I like that because that's Cap's character, though.
Yeah,
he can be funny, even though he's quite a serious, great speech giver. And also, like, after he gave the speech at the time travel bit,
and Rocket was like, "Wow, he really wait. What did he say?" He said like,
"He's really good at that."
He's really good. Yeah, he is really good at that or something.
And they're all like, "Yeah."
Oh,
because he is. He's fucking incredible.
He is.
It kind of just reminds me of that father figure that doesn't really understand that he's either being funny or really great or really loving or whatever, but he just is.
Yeah.
You know, he just cracks on with it. And
that links back to him being not in his proper era.
Yes.
That's why he's that father figure, because he's had to grow up so quickly.
Different generation, isn't he?
And even he grew up amongst a war. And he was becoming like a soldier and everything. Yeah. So it kind of made sense that he was that father figure, because he's kind of had to be forced into like a father role.
Yes. There were some callbacks to the first Avenger, I'm pretty sure, but I can't remember them. There's something about his military. I'm not sure. I
just remember, I think when Captain America and Tony Stark went back to the 1970s, and then he was like, "Hey, where's it kept?" And then Tony Stark said, "Hey, where's the stone kept?" And then Captain America was like, "It's in that bunker." I'm pretty sure that bunker was from Winter Soldier or something.
Where him and Nat
go back, and it's all dusty and everything.
And the German scientist.
Yeah, he's on the computer.
He's on the computer.
I think it's the same place. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one, but I think you might be right.
Yeah. I must say, the bit that obviously I feel like everyone that I've spoken to cried in that film.
I didn't.
Or teared up. You didn't cry?
I didn't cry.
I teared up.
Yeah.
Did you hear me tearing up?
I knew when Stark died.
No.
Hold on, let me guess.
Yeah, try and guess. You've got 2 more chances. Which bit did I cry at?
Was it... Oh, I'm trying to remember the bits. Was it something to do with his daughter and him?
No.
Something to do with Cap?
No.
Shit.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
Him and his father.
Yeah.
That bit got to me so much.
Which bit?
Him, when obviously he always kind of saw his father, apart from when he saw the video of his dad, I think in Iron Man 2 or something. He always saw his dad as somebody he didn't really care about him, was never there for him and everything.
Yeah.
And so when he was speaking to him, and he could see that his dad, Howard, was nervous, and when Howard was like, "Hey, were you nervous when you had your little girl and stuff?" Like that scene, I think meant so much for Tony and so much for me, who's loved the kind of relationship he's had with the people around him, and also the relationship he wanted with his dad.
Yeah.
Or he felt like he should have had with his dad.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I feel like I would have definitely cried if Captain America had died.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit disappointed that he didn't.
Yeah.
But I think that is the better send-off.
His ending was good.
But I don't know, because perfect for Tony Stark, him sacrificing himself.
Yeah.
I also did think that Captain was going to do it as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been great for his character, but I understand him getting old and completing his storyline with Peggy.
Especially because, like I said, it seemed like he was wanting to do that in every Avengers film. You could tell that that wasn't his real purpose. His real purpose was to go back to that date.
Yes, that was his purpose. Yeah. Not to die, really, was it?
And he went back and he did it with Peggy.
Yeah.
And to some extent, he did die, didn't he? He was an old guy by the end of it. Even though he looked hot. He was a hot old guy with his shield.
But isn't that... I wonder what Chris Evans thinks about the fact that is how he's going to look when he's older.
Yeah, because they must have done a lot of studying into that.
I'm sure they did. It's not like one of those apps that you can get on your phone.
It's not like Age Me or whatever. Maybe they did do that. It's like, okay, we'll use this.
That's a great app.
Because he looks good.
He does.
I'd like to see in like 60 years' time if he actually looks like that. That could be interesting.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure we'll still be on Facebook and there'll be a fucking meme going around.
Yeah.
60 years ago on this day.
Hey, CGI was like this.
Yeah.
60 years ago on this day.
Yeah.
Tom.
Yes.
There is a question which I still have in my head from Endgame. And that is at Tony Stark's funeral. There was a shot of a random kid.
Yeah, Quicksilver. Isn't that X-Men?
That's X-Men. I don't think that was Quicksilver.
No, not Quick.
Who was that kid?
No, I swear it was.
See,
Running
now,
fast dude.
I don't think it was. Because that would be a weird addition. What Joe said was that was the kid in Iron Man 3.
This is where I'm going to have to say that I haven't seen Iron Man 3.
Tom.
It's the one I haven't seen, as well as Ant-Man, the latest Ant-Man.
Well, I'll quickly run through so in Iron Man 3, I didn't like it at all. Some people actually really liked it, which is surprising. It was this guy who could enhance his own body to like be these I didn't really pay attention. This flame body, and Tony Stark finds himself trapped in Russia or somewhere, and there's this young kid, this like young teenage kid finds him. He's like, "Wow, you're Tony Stark," and he helps him and gives him shelter and everything. And I think Iron Man 3, the most important thing coming out of that is that he finds compassion towards children, and I think that definitely it gave more impact with his relationship with his daughter because of the relationship he had with that kid then. So the rumor was that was the child that he hung out with in Iron Man 3.
Really?
Yeah. Because I don't know who else it could be.
No, I thought it was the guy from X-Men.
I don't know why they would add that.
But why would they do that? They haven't crossed...
They haven't.
They haven't done it, have they? No. I like the fact that Jon Favreau was there.
Yeah.
The guy that originally created pretty much kicked off Avengers and Marvel with casting Tony Stark as Iron Man.
Yeah.
That's the perfect way.
And I mean, he's been in the other films, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he was comforting his daughter.
Oh, that scene was sad.
Yeah, but I just feel like it was perfect that he was there.
Yeah.
As a great callback to Iron Man.
I think as well, it was like, Iron Man, he helped with his role and everything. And now his daughter, he's helping with his daughter's life. Yeah. Iron Man's daughter. That scene though, when he was like, "Hey, do you want anything?" She was like, "I want cheeseburgers." He's like, your dad used to like cheeseburgers. Yeah. Links right to the first film when as soon as he got back from
cheeseburgers.
Yeah, he wanted a cheeseburger.
There's another great scene as well when Iron Man escapes from the compound.
Yeah.
Probably one of the most legendary Marvel moments.
What would you say is, firstly, your favourite Marvel film? I feel like Endgame, if it wasn't for all the other films, would be a mess because you wouldn't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
So, what standalone film? What is your favourite standalone Marvel film? Because you do like Captain America: Winter Soldier, don't you?
I've got sort of like a special place for the first Avenger.
Yep.
Winter Soldier is one of my favourites. I'm gonna have to say Civil War I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
I'll say, I'm gonna say the first Avenger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good film, man.
Yeah.
Especially because I feel like you're really interested in that kind of era as well.
Yeah, that's another reason.
Especially a superhero film set around then. Was like,
yeah, I liked that.
I think for me it goes Iron Man 1, classic, has to be for me. Yeah. First Iron Man. And then it goes Winter Soldier because some of the scenes in that, such as like the elevator scene, and how S.H.I.E.L.D. was secretly Hydra. Especially when, in Endgame, when Tony was like, or someone was like, oh yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. secretly Hydra, but we just couldn't ignore it. I was like, what the hell? Like, that's crazy. That was such a...
the fact that they knew that.
Yeah, and so good. So cool.
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra. Ah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Great.
Second time viewing, Tom. Like you said, you feel like it would enhance the your kind of opinion of the film.
Yeah.
I agree as well because obviously we know what's happening, so now we can actually look into the scenes and kind of add connections in our head.
Yeah, we can.
Do you feel like any characters didn't have enough screen time?
Drax.
Do you think he had
a whole lot of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, Quill. I feel like Quill's ending was the only unfortunate one. Because Gamora, obviously, it's young Gamora who didn't even know who he was.
That was quite an open-ended.
See, now, this is what I think, because apparently they're going to make a spin-off, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to have Thor in. Because this is after they go out in space.
Yeah.
So apparently, maybe that's why they're not mentioning them too much, is because they're going to mention them in future stuff.
I think so, because it can't be a coincidence, the fact that did Drax even say anything?
I think he had one line. I don't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure he spoke once. But then again, in Infinity War, he spoke quite a bit, I feel like, as well.
So you've got Drax, who doesn't say much. You've got Gamora and Quill's interaction,
which makes sense because they kind of finished their ending was in Infinity War. Yeah.
And obviously the fact that Quill didn't really say much. He
Yeah.
had that bit with Thor.
Yeah.
Who else was the Mantis lady? She was there.
Yeah. What everyone calls her, Mantis lady.
Yeah. Rocket, I suppose he was quite a big part.
Yeah.
Rocket and Groot.
Groot had one line in it. Obviously, I am Groot.
Oh yeah, but again, they didn't really have much of a interaction.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's got to be another one in the pipeline.
Well, they've got Spider-Man 3 coming out.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting. Still not a fan of the Spider-Man. Although in the film though,
neither am I.
When he says like kill mode, he just starts stabbing everyone around him. That was
cool.
Such a cool moment.
I just don't like Spider-Man.
No, I like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. But I guess you don't like Spider-Man.
I just don't like Spider-Man as a superhero. I respect all the actors. I think they've done him really great.
Yeah.
And the films are okay.
Yeah.
I just don't rate Spider-Man.
In comparison to all the other ones, it's like, come on.
Just a bit boring.
Make another Iron Man film.
Yeah. Well, Captain America.
What did you think of Gwen turning? Not Gwen. What did you think of Peppa Pig? What did you think of her turning up? In her blue suit. I like how they hinted towards the blue suit, like Mummy never wears what I make her or whatever.
Yeah, they hinted at it, didn't they? I liked it. I mean, yeah, it's just another hero to help the final battle.
Yeah.
I mean, is what it is.
And then Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I liked her haircut.
I hadn't even thought. Yeah, she's fit. Captain Marvel. Well, that's the haircut she has in the comics.
It is.
And the TV series.
Which makes sense.
So I like that they gave that to her. And yeah, she is OP, isn't she? And she took on Thanos and...
That fight scene was cool.
Still couldn't really beat him until they all had to come together.
They did, still.
She was so confident that she could do it.
Yeah.
On her own.
Wait, why didn't the Hulk run in and beat him up?
We tried that already.
I know, but why didn't he help a little bit more? I suppose maybe when they went back in time and you could see that they were like, hey, try and be like 2012 Hulk, and he was like, and kind of kicking a car. Maybe he doesn't really have that anger that Hulk has. I don't think
so. And when they went back to kill Thanos right at the start, wasn't Hulk wearing...
He was underground.
Wasn't he wearing the Hulkbuster?
Oh, he was, yeah.
Oh, he was.
Which means he still, at the beginning of Endgame, he still wasn't... So maybe, so over those 5 years is when he became...
Because he was just Bruce Banner.
He was chilling out in the Hulkbuster. We're going to have to look out for that, Tom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to look out for second viewing.
No, I'll just have to turn around and look back at me.
Yeah.
We're not sitting next to each other.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah.
Tom!
That was it!
Because every cinema in our area, in Chichester as well, and in Brighton, are just completely sold out.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I wonder how much money it's made.
I think it's made a few billion or whatever.
Pounds?
Let me quickly... 20, yeah. They definitely made more than £20, I think.
You think?
So they've broken global box office records with an estimated 644 million, which is crazy.
Oh, it's mad. They'll never need to make another film again, but they will.
Endgame, which has the Avengers return to take on evil Thanos, has grossed an estimated 487 million overseas, according to the studio. That breaks the record for the biggest opening weekend internationally, which was held by 2017's The Fate of the Furious.
Really?
Interesting. Endgame also already has the highest grossing 3-day start ever in China. The film has so far made 217 million there.
So much money.
That's crazy. What are they going to do with it? Make a whole new franchise of Marvel films?
Possibly.
Let's hope so.
I hope so. The payoff will be great.
Payoff. Third Marvel film. Them just chilling out with their new lives. Then it just cuts to Tony Stark's it's proof that Tony has a heart thing rolling in the river.
Still rolling.
Oh no. Tom, thanks for this spoiler cast.
I think it's been great.
It's been interesting, especially we've had to adapt to it last minute.
Yeah.
But hopefully
adapt, overcome.
I'd like to do more of these in the future. More like movie podcasts, movie spoiler casts.
I like them.
They're cool.
Maybe with someone else as well.
Thank you for listening. If you made it through the spoiler cast,
well done.
Well done. You made it through. Hearing us talk incorrectly about characters' names. Falcon.
In the Marvel universe.
The Marvel universe.
Falcon, dude. Mantis.
Isn't
that her actual
name? It is. Yeah, Mantis.
It is.
Damn. Yeah. So thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed. Leave us a comment if you want. Let us know how we're doing, or if you enjoyed this spoiler cast. And thank you for listening. Before we finish, Tom, any shout outs of any characters in the film?
Shout out to my main man, Captain America.
And I'm going to shout out Groot for his lines in the film. Yes. Teenage Groot. Make sure you're subscribed to us on iTunes or following us on Facebook at Having Words Podcast or Instagram at Having Words for updates. Be sure to like and share with your friends. We'd really appreciate that. We're also on Reddit at r/Having Words. Put us on Patreon if you want, at patreon.com/Having Words. We're going to be adding a lot of content on there in the future, which will be exclusive to Patreon, so check that out. We're also on YouTube. You can check out our episodes on there. Soon we'll be doing video content in the future once we have the time for it. Shit. Please, if you like this episode, leave an iTunes rating and review. And finally, Tom, a final word from you.
Destiny will arrive.
And a final word from me, which Thanos will have his silence, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
And Tom, literally in an hour, we're watching Endgame again. Here we go. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Bye, guys.
See you later. Bye.